People ask me about Profit Protector Pro strategies all the time. What would I recommend in this scenario? If you don't know what to set, what would be a good one to start with? All manner of things like that. So today, what I wanted to do was explain which you should choose out of an aggressive sales focused strategy and a profit focused strategy, or I'm going to help you come to a conclusion on which one you should use. So I always recommend things like the Balanced Sales Accumulator because that's my personal favorite. That's the one I use the most. And I think if you are getting started with Profit Protector Pro and you're not sure what to set exactly in terms of the AI strategies, and you're not sure if it should be more sales focused or more profit focused, I'd recommend the Balanced Sales Accumulator or the Cautious Sales Enhancer. They're very close together in terms of that split focus. But if you're going to be leaning more towards sales or leaning more towards profit, what would be better for you to use, and how do you know when to apply those sorts of strategies? So again, removing the balanced ones from the equation, because this is where we're looking to be a bit more sided towards profit or sales. So the aggressive strategies ultimately are designed to just get that buy box. That is what they're determined to do. So they will slightly undercut the buy box as their preferred way of winning it, and then they will try like little bumps up to move that price upwards. So it's more about holding the buy box as much as possible to ensure you get sales, rather than, oh, I need to really strive for the max. Of course, if Profit Protector Pro can achieve your max price, it will. But the strategies, of course, as you know, will determine the focus of what Profit Protector Pro is going to do. So the aggressive strategies tell PPP, okay, we need to hold the buy box as much as possible, in which case making these big leaps towards the max price isn't going to be necessary, because that holds quite the chance of losing the buy box, and therefore if you don't have the buy box, you're not making sales. So if you just want to make those sales, if you want to clear out stock, if you have tough competition where they're pretty on it with repricing as well, and they're maybe using aggressive strategies of their own, then I would fully recommend the super aggressive dominator, the aggressive sales generator. People ask me what the big difference is between the two, and there isn't really a big difference between them. I'm sure by looking at these descriptions, you'll read them and wonder, what is that difference? There is only a slight difference between them. There isn't worlds of difference at all. So the super aggressive dominator is very focused on buy box. It will of course acknowledge competition, because it's these aggressive strategies that will also compete with FBM as well. They are FBA focused, but if say an FBM seller is really holding that buy box super hard, it will turn to compete with them as well. The super aggressive will focus that bit more on buy box, whereas the aggressive sales generator will focus a tad more on the competition's pricing and what they're doing. There isn't really much in it at all with that little bit of focus. It is literally just tipping the scales by a tad, like not very much at all. So a slightly more buy box focus, slightly more competition price focus. And that's how you can choose between them, where you want that little bit more focus. Buy box, competition, in terms of your undercutting and repricing. So that's when I would say to use an aggressive strategy, clearing out stock, tough competition that use an aggressive strategies themselves. I mean, you'll definitely know, because their prices will be moving rapidly. They'll be implementing a bunch of the same sort of things that the aggressive strategies would. And yeah, that's when I'll say to use it. The profit-focused strategies range from the dynamic profit builder through to the passive profit maximizer. So these three strategies right here. Now, when they're used by an FBA seller, they're not going to compete with merchant fulfilled. So that's a big difference between these ones and, say, the aggressive strategies. So these ones being more profit-focused, they won't really undercut. They basically will match the buy box, or they might go slightly above. So these would be good to use on a listing where you might be the only FBA seller, for example, because as an FBA seller, you have a natural advantage over FBM. So if you're the only FBA seller, you can very easily secure and hold the buy box at a higher price point, and you can afford to sit just above it and still have a very good chance of winning that buy box because you are FBA. So these ones will either match or be slightly above. So if you're really wanting to dial into protecting the amount of money that you're going to make on the item, you really believe that, you really want to make that max price. Competition might be a bit chiller, or as I say, you might be the only FBA seller amongst loads of merchant fulfilled sellers. Things like that is when you'd want to set these kinds of strategies. So yeah, there's not really a one size fits all, which is why so many strategies exist within Profit Protector Pro, where you can set according to the situation, what it is that you want to do, and you've got to come to a conclusion between what you want to do and the actual real scenario of the listing. You've got to find a mutual sort of ground between the two, and that will help you decide what strategy is best to choose in particular. But yeah, between having that sales focus, having that profit focus, those are the differences. Those are the kinds of scenarios where you'd want to choose this one or this one, and that will help you fine tune in that bit more. So instead of having a balanced one, for example, that is split in the middle, if you really need to make those sales, you'll go aggressive. If it's a bit of a chiller listing, or maybe you're the only FBA seller, you don't have to be 50-50 in that case. You can lean more towards your profit and make more money. So in which case you want to use one of these three. Hopefully this has helped you choose which strategy you want out of the two at both ends. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you soon.